Alright, so I'm going to show you guys how to do, if you have a curvy one instead of just straight lines, some of the things that you want to consider with that. So I created, I brought in another file, which is right here, and my artboard is still right up there. So what I can actually do, if I wanted to, if you would do two different projects in one area, is you can just go ahead and create another artboard. This is artboard 2, and go ahead and hit enter if you want to call it something. Just deselect it, and there it is. So I'm going to turn off all my other layers. Oops, I accidentally put this one on the wrong layer, so I'll just put it in a new one. So I'll just call this one image 2, and I take that file, stick it in there, turn off all these other ones, and now that's all I have. So I don't have to worry about the other guidelines or anything. So I'm going to go ahead and lock this, make a new layer called guidelines. Double click. It's always good to name your layers, and just take a second to kind of go through and anticipate where I think I might need them. So there's one right there. And actually, I probably need to rotate this first because it's not quite where I want it. So I'm going to take that and just turn it a little bit that way so it's a little bit more horizontally and vertically aligned. Alright, so let's try that. And I go to my guidelines, let me lock that, pull this out, and there it is. Just get as close to it as I can. This one is going to be kind of lined up with the edge in the center of the circle. Pull one here and here, and just a couple more on the edges of the O. And for the O, I'll just go ahead and start with that one since it's the easiest. Really the easiest thing to do would just be to use an ellipse. So I'll just click on the circle, go to the ellipse tool, and I'm going to make a new layer now and just call it drawing 2. Lock my guidelines, and I'll just go ahead and right here from the center of this guideline, hold down Shift and Alt to get a perfect circle that comes from the inside and pretty much hits both of those guidelines. And there we go. Let me fill it in so you can see what that looks like. And go to my opacity, and I can make that lower if I want to, but for now I'll just leave it. So now I'm going to duplicate that circle by holding down Alt while I move it. Now I have a new one, and I'll just put it back to its original location. Hold down Shift and Alt to resize, and I just want to pay attention to the thickness of the outer part of it. I want it to be about as thick as all the other elements. I can adjust it later, but it's easier to do it now. So go into about that size. I'm going to select both, and if you remember from yesterday's video, you want to go up to Window, Pathfinder, and the second option is going to be the one that minuses the front. So there we go. That was an easy way to do that, and it's should be centered, assuming I did everything right. Let me pull another guideline out for the tops of my lowercase letters, and that'll be right there. And for the bottom of my letters, right here, I can just hit that O. And for the top of my capital letter, there we go. And you'll notice I have all these sketches and stuff. I can ignore those. That's what's nice about this is I can, you know, I don't have to worry about any of this extra lines. I can just focus on the one I want to do. So let me go back to my drawing layer, and I'm going to use the pen tool now, and I'll just go ahead and do the J and show you how that's done. So I'll start with here. I'm going to use, I don't really even need to hold down Shift because I have a guideline there, but if I wanted to, I could hold down Shift. And then I kind of want to go straight across from that last anchor point. That's going to be the best way to do that. And now I'm going to click and drag that. And you know what? Actually, I'm not happy with that line because it doesn't curve out enough. So I'm actually going to go back to the beginning here. And clicking on this one, I'm actually going to go halfway and do it that way. And that way I'm just going to get a little bit closer to what I wanted. Now I'm going to hold down Shift, because if I don't, it's going to go like this. I want it to be completely horizontal, and that's going to give me a nice even curve. So now I'm going to click directly across from this point and right about there. And it should be relatively straight. I can go back and fix that later. Now I'm going to go straight up, holding down shift, that's going to make it go straight. Come around to the center here, hold down shift to, oops, that didn't work. Hold down shift to go straight across, and back down here, hold down shift, make a nice straight line there, and then again halfway point, probably right below that one is your best bet, right along the bottom one. Go straight across, and I'm just going to have to click here, and you want it to be parallel with that one if you're doing something like this. And if I want to give it a little bit of a tail, I can. Now I'm going to click on this one again because I don't want the next line to curve. Remember that little trick. So I'll click here. Should be a straight line right across, halfway, click and drag. Hold down shift to keep it vertical, and then click. Hold down shift to keep it straight across, click. I'm going to go halfway, and I'm going to click and drag to keep holding down shift to keep it vertical, and back to here and there. So let's go ahead and turn off our guidelines and our other stuff for now and just kind of look at it and see what needs to be fixed. Obviously we got a little problem there that kind of curves in, and just a few other issues. So at this point what you want to do is go in with your direct selection tool and click on all of the points that you need to fix. So this one needs to come in. Now I'm going to hold down shift again to keep that vertical. That's much better. This one could actually be set to smooth. If you go up here to the top, and you'll notice that that jagged line will now become smooth, although I'm not crazy about the way it comes out on that side now, so I'll just come over here and pull that in. This line is a little wide right here. I probably just need to pull it down, so I just selected this point, and I'm just using the arrow keys to pull it down. These could probably be set to smooth if I wanted to. Let's see what that looks like. No, maybe not. Probably just need a little bit more weight on this side. I'm just going to hold down shift, pull that down a little bit. That's better. This isn't perfectly symmetrical. It looks like maybe this anchor point's a little too high, so I'll pull that manually. And maybe this handle is just a little bit too much that way. And I can actually click on a handle and use the arrow keys on that as well. That's a nice, easy way to do it. This one points out too much, so I'll just click on this anchor, and actually I'll click on these 2 points by selecting them and use the arrow key just to push them over that way a little bit. Let's try that one more time. Okay, and then maybe I'll just pull the anchor down 1 point. Okay, I'm liking that. I want to make sure that using my guidelines that's the center. Yep, everything lines up pretty nicely. So this is starting to look pretty good in my opinion. Maybe pull this out just a tiny little bit. So this is the level of care I expect you guys to be giving your work at this point forward. Everything should be done for a reason, and you're taking the time to consider where you're placing everything, and yeah, so that's that. So basically today you can continue doing what you're doing yesterday and creating your letters. When you're done, start experimenting with colors, and in the next video I'll talk about what you can do from that point forward. Alright, thanks guys, bye.